In this video, we are going to go ahead and set up the Unity Float Control software and go over the configurations and operation of the software. So once you have your float pod or float room set up full of water and you have turned on the filtration engine with the control box on it, you will come over and install the software. And when you come into the software, you'll come to this screen, which is the system information multi-tank screen. Normally there won't be any tanks here. We just have a couple demos tanks hooked up and on there. So your first thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the system configuration. And in here you will see your system configuration global settings. So we do have the default float length, whether you're using 60 or 90-minute float sessions. The clean cycle length should be set at about 15 minutes. It's about 4 minutes per turnover. And then your pre-session length, we have 8 minutes. What this is there are 3 ways of starting a session. Number one, the customer will push any one of the buttons inside of the pod and it'll automatically start the session. There will be a start button on the screen after this. Or once you hit start pre-session, this timer will run out and it will automatically start the session just in case you or the person forget or the person inside of the tank does not push the button. Once the session is over and the post messages come on to tell the customer to get out, this is the delay timer before we actually cut the pumps on. This should be set to 1 or 2 minutes. Max time between clean, these are more for automating the cleaning sessions if you're going to be away from the tank and it's not going to be used for 2 or 3 days or more. We have our chemical injection set point. On this system we are not using chemical injection, so we set that to 0. And your ozone injection should be set to about 5 minutes. So once you have your settings in there, we want to go ahead and activate the tank and get it running. So what you would do is you'll click the drop down box, and you can click any of the drop down boxes, and you'll see that we have one tank that's connected to the system right now, and it is giving us an IP address of 192.168.1.200. So you will select that address, you will put it, it'll basically bounce into the window, and then you will go ahead and enable the tank. Once it's enabled, you can come up and hit the return button, and you will see we have the new tank. And it is in the state idle. When it is in the state idle, that means that it is connected and working properly, and it's just waiting for a command. We also see that we have the temperature here all at this time also. It does tell you whether or not the light is on or off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and click on the tank, and we're going to go into the information for tank 1. Here we can still see that state is idle, or it will give us the timer on whether it's in a float session or a cleaning session. Again, the current temperature tells us the volume level. At this point we can go ahead and change the float session by adding 5 minutes subtracting, or if you want to do something odd, you can put in, with the keys a custom number. You can toggle the light on and off. And at this point you can select the color and change it to purple. And when you do that, it actually should automatically apply, or you may need to hit apply. Here we can adjust the volume of the audio. We do have a low, medium, high, and then there's a mute function. So you can set the high volume to like 215, 14. You can come in and set custom numbers if you want to put this at 180, and then your low should be around maybe 155. You can do that. Again, we're going to hit apply to apply those commands. You can toggle the intro track, the exit track, whether or not you're going to have float music, and on the newer 3.2 version you can go ahead and activate the auxiliary input. From here, what you normally need to do is you'll click Manage Music, and it will connect up to the engine, and it will basically tell you what music is installed on there. We'll do a separate video for the Music Manager. And then you do have a drop-down box, and you can select the tracks that you want to listen to, that the customer's going to be listening to. Here we have our float temperature. You may want to keep that at about a 1 degree difference, maybe a ½ degree if you want. And then the idle temperature when the customer is not floating and the equipment is just going to maintain temperature. And then we also have the equipment status, and it tells you whether or not your main pump is supposed to be on, the heater's on, whether the in-tank heater, the chemical dosing, the ozone, and even UV light. And so when a customer comes in and you're going to go ahead and get them in a session, you're basically just going to verify how long they're going to be floating for, and then you're going to select their audio track that they're going to listen to. At that point, you're just going to go ahead and click on Start Pre-Session, and that will start the pre-session timer, that 8 minutes from the other room. Again, here we can go ahead and start the session if we want to, or that timer will run out and it'll automatically start. Or if the customer gets in and presses the button in 2 or 3 minutes, it'll automatically start the session at that time. And then once it's completely done and it runs through, we'll go ahead and start the session here. It will go ahead and play the intro track, which we may hear it come on here in just a second. Let's see if we can turn the volume up, see if we can hear it.
Float Pod for your flotation experience. Your session will begin momentarily. Please take this time to adjust the level to your preference and to familiarize
So we have about a 23-second intro track. Once that intro track is completed, it will go into the main float track timer, and there it will play the float music, which we have meditation selected. So we'll give it just a second, and that should start. Okay, so the intro track is now done. We are now in the float session. We have 1 hour remaining. See, we'll turn the volume up again, and you can hear it playing the music. And at this point, if we want to, we can go ahead, if somebody came out, we can return to idle. It'll basically skip past everything. Or you can go ahead and click on End Session. It will come up and give you a warning. We'll hit OK. And then the float session will end and it'll go to the exit track. And then it'll play the exit message.
Welcome back. This now concludes your flotation session in the Evolution.
Hopefully you can hear the
Please exit the tank
exit message playing.
as the tank
It's about
will begin its filtration
15 seconds, I think.
We hope you've enjoyed your float session.
And again, you can see in here, while we were in session, it did switch from the main pump and main heater off to turning the in-tank heater on. And now it should go ahead, and we have the 2-minute delay, the post-session delay, to allow the customer to get out of the tank. We're going to go ahead and skip past that and go to start filtration. It'll come up and give us another warning. And then it'll go into cleaning session with our 15-minute timer. Again, at any time we can return to idle. And it goes ahead and it turns the main pump on. And let's see if it should turn, turns the main heater on, and now the ozone cuts on also to go ahead and dose it. And once this timer runs out, then the session is completely over, and it does return it back to idle mode, ready and waiting for the next customer to come in. This concludes the initial setup and basic operation of the flotation software, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.